Welcome, everybody, to the June 4th, 2025 Zoning Advisory Commission. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And staff, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Christ is excused. Froistad? Here. Lorman?
Here.
Mulligan is excused. Norton?
Here.
Russell?
Here.
Zucchero?
Here.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the review and approval of the minutes from May 7th, 2025. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Chair Russell, we just need to confirm that we are in compliance with the Iowa.
Did I skip something?
Yep, there should be a section in there. I'm looking for the language. Compliance with the Iowa codes.
Well,
We-
could you
we are in
confirm that
compliance.
We are in
That's-
compliance
we
with the
are good to
Iowa
go.
Open Meetings Law?
Yes, we are. Thank you.
All right, on to the minutes from May 7th, 2025. Any additions or corrections?
Could I request two additions to the minutes, please?
Sure.
Under the item for the public hearing rezoning on Cedar Cross, do I need to wait for them to be listening?
I'm so sorry.
No, you're okay.
Can you please repeat that? I apologize.
Under the item for the rezoning for Cedar Cross,
Yes.
you added that whoever wrote these added that I commented about the adjacent property being CS. I also made a comment about how this particular property had come before us with a request, I believe, for CS and then for R4.
Correct.
Pass. So, I mean, if the sentence was added about that.
We can certainly clarify that. Yep, no
Okay.
problem. Thank
And
you for
then
that.
The second one, my second comment was my comments on the landfill one. That I said that there should be a buffer between heavy industrial and the residences. I don't know if it was also important to state that within that area, they weren't allowed to build like landfill anyways, because there was some other kind of restriction. So my recommendation was to maybe also use, propose that area as a different zone since they couldn't build in it.
Okay.
Anyways, just so there was another protection for the property owners. Those are my comments.
Okay, thank you. And that was on, I'm assuming, page 7 of the minutes? Is
Yeah,
that what you're
page 7.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Anything else? Well, I will entertain a motion for approval of the revised minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as I requested revisions of.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
All right,
Froistad? Aye. Lorman?
Aye.
Norton?
Aye.
Zucchero?
Abstain?
Russell?
aye. All right. Well, next is an action item for the minor subdivision of the final plat of Summers Place.
I'm going to recuse myself from the conversation.
All right, thanks, Pat.
Yep.
The procedure for this is the applicant makes a presentation. Is there an applicant here for the, all right, Terry, come forward. And then after that, we'll have a staff report. The commission will consider the item. We'll have a motion and a second, one way or the other. Further commission discussion, and then we'll vote on the item. So,
I'm Terry Kelker with Beasing and Associates here in Dubuque at 1212 Locust Street. I'm representing Carl and Mary Summers and their plat that we put together for them here. We got 3 lots that we created. It's like a redivision of what was there before. Lot 1 and Lot 2 that are shown on the plat right here were previously full-depth lots that went to the rear lot line and each contained an accessory building behind each of them. Now with this replat, or the redivision, I should say, and the new survey plat that was created here, we've now got 2 accessory buildings that are on Lot 3, which has a residential home on that lot. That's why we're here tonight, I guess, is because it doesn't meet ordinance the way that is. So.
any questions for Terry?
No.
It sounds like right now the 3 lots are under common ownership.
Correct.
Okay.
The intent, I guess, is to sell these lots at some point down the road here.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Staff report?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson Russell. So we, as the applicant articulated, we're looking at 3 existing properties at the end of Meadow Lane. You can see them on the screen before you. 45 Meadow Lane in red, 49 Meadow Lane in blue, and then 65 Meadow Lane in yellow. And as you already stated, these are under common ownership. The property owner desired to restructure the property lines for these 3 lots in order to retain the accessory structures on the 65 Meadow Lane property. This did go through a special exception review by the Zoning Board of Adjustment, and that was approved. The reason for that request was that they required to, were proposing to have more than 1,000 square feet of accessory structures on the 65 lot, now with those 2 accessory structures moving over. And so that was approved by the Zoning Board of Adjustment, and the request before you is just the subdivision plat. They are, the lots as proposed would all otherwise be in compliance with the bulk regulations, so setbacks, lot frontage, street frontage, and such, as well as there is access for 49 Meadow Lane by way of this shared driveway with 65 Meadow Lane, and then also to their garage here. Additionally, all 3 properties will continue to have the required amount of parking per the city's code requirements for single-family residential. That is all I have, unless you have any questions.
I did have a question about the bulk requirements. Does the new lot 3 meet the maximum lot coverage?
Yes, it does. It is compliant with that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? No. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the final plat of Summers Place as proposed.
I'll second.
Froisted?
Aye.
Lorman?
Aye.
Zucchero?
Aye.
Russell?
Aye. The next item on the agenda, or the next 3 items, are public hearings. Similar to the other item we just completed, the applicant makes a presentation, then there's an opportunity for the public to comment. And after that, the applicant can provide any more information or rebuttal from the comments. And we'll have a staff report, discuss any letters in support or opposition to the proposal, and the commission will consider the item. We'll have a motion and a second to approve or not approve the item, and we'll have further commission discussion, and then we'll vote on the item. So the first one is rezoning at the end of June Drive. The applicant is Josh Ramler. Is there somebody here for that item?
I'm Josh Ramler with Ramler Construction, 2019 Creekwood Drive, and looking to rezone a portion of the approximately 8 acres at the end of June Drive to R1 for a single-family residence.
Any questions for the applicant?
You made me nervous.
No? All right, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience tonight that would want to address this proposal? With that, I will close the public hearing and ask for a staff report.
Yes, Sheena Moon, Associate Planner. So as the applicant articulated, they are seeking to rezone a portion of this existing property, which is at the end of June Drive. So in the image before you here, you can see in the black and white checkered outline, that is generally the area that they are proposing to rezone. In this image here, you can see what they're looking to construct would be the access driveway for the property, a turnaround area, and then also a single family residence. So the So the agricultural zoning district, which is what the property is currently zoned, would allow for a single-family home as an accessory to an agricultural use, provided there's at least 10 acres of property. So in this instance, it's not an active agricultural use in the property, but as well as it's only approximately 8 acres of property. And so a rezoning was really what was required in order to allow for a single-family construction here. There is not any other subdivision of the property. Again, this is just us rezoning this area to allow for the single-family construction. This did go through a conceptual review with our development review team. Generally, single-family homes do not require review by our development review team. However, this being at the end of June Drive, as well as just looking at the development of the property, we did have a discussion with them regarding any potential improvements or how access would be managed at the end of June Drive, as well as stormwater runoff from the end of June Drive. And so that was all discussed with our development review team, as well as fire access to the property and how that would be regulated to meet code. So that has been reviewed. This property also did go through a zoning board of adjustment review for a special exception for an extended front yard setback. Generally, if rezoned tonight, that request was contingent upon any approvals that would come from a rezoning request. And so that request was specifically to allow a single-family home to be more than 50 feet from the front property line. Generally, in our R1 code, we require a minimum setback of 20 feet, and we require allow a maximum setback of 50 feet. In this instance, it is obviously a larger property, and they requested to put that back about, I think it's about 300 feet, give or take, from the June Drive access point. So again, this is a request to allow for a portion of the property to be rezoned from agricultural to R1. They are requesting to keep the remaining portion of the property as agricultural use, or as agricultural zoning rather. And in the chart here before you, you can see just a side-by-side comparison of what's allowed in each of those districts. So not a lot of overlap there, as you can tell. We have not had any public input for or against the rezoning request specifically. During the zoning board of adjustment review, there were neighbors who did express support for the extended setback. The neighbors, especially to the east there, were obviously in support of, along Milo, of pushing that house a little further back. And with that, I do not have anything further, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Can you explain the proposal to just rezone a portion of the property and why, or is it to rezone the whole property?
So it is to rezone a portion of the property. So the area in this image outlined in the kind of cyan light blue color. The property owner requested that. That was their desired rezoning for the property. Rezonings they're not required to run with a specific parcel. Properties can be multi-zoned. So in this instance, we're moving forward with their requested portion of the rezoning.
Any other questions? All right. I didn't note that there was a letter.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Packet.
It was in support.
And I apologize. Yes, that's correct. I got it confused with the ZBA. This did get included. It was an email sent from a neighboring property owner, and that they were okay with the single-family property behind them there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
All right. Any discussion from the commission members?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve or recommend approval to the city council as requested.
Is there a second?
Second?
Lorman,
Aye.
Norton,
Aye.
Zaccaro,
Aye.
Froistat,
Aye.
Russell.
Aye. All right, that'll go on to the June 16th city council meeting, where the same process will be followed. All right, the next item on our agenda is a rezoning at 1395 Washington from C4 downtown commercial to C1 neighborhood commercial. Is the applicant here for that?
No, I'm here to represent.
All right.
Hello, my name's Mike Kelly, address 1398 Elm Street, and I'm here to answer any of your questions as well as to read a statement from the owner. The particular property that's in question, because of size, shape, and location, and other physical conditions, suffer a unique disadvantage in meeting the zoning regulations as they are. This disadvantage does not apply to other properties in the vicinity. Because of this disadvantage, the owner is unable to make reasonable use of the affected property. The disadvantage does not exist because of conditions created by the owner or previous owners of the property. In granting a variance request will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied in this ordinance to other land, structures, or buildings in the same district. Granting the variance will not only be contrary to the public interest, will not adversely affect other property in the vicinity, and will be in harmony with the intent of the purpose of this ordinance. 1395 and 1397 Washington, which appears to be one building, they're a side-by-side unit, are the only commercial spaces on the block. The foot traffic is very low and not very viable for storefronts. The 1397 property, which is on the north side of it, took well over a year to lease and was only leased with significant incentives to the renter as well as a very low rate. That is not meeting expenses for the owner by doing so. The 1395 side was left in extremely good condition when the tenant moved out in early 2023. Immediately, the property was listed for commercial lease, and despite its high quality, the below market rates, and no commercial tenant was interested in this unit. Given the location, foot traffic, lack of surrounding storefronts, and the new proposed overpass will probably shut the street down, which is going to make it even harder to rent. So with that said, it is set up for handicap apartment or elderly, which is very hard to find in the city of Dubuque. So with that, we're asking for it to be rezoned.
All right, thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions from the commission?
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody in the audience want to address this proposal? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Assistant Planner Travis Robelgen. So as the applicant pointed out, it says one of the only commercial storefronts on this block that share the alley going between Jackson and Washington there. This area has been zoned central business district since probably whenever the zoning code started, 36, sorry. And then it's been changed to C4 and has been C4 since 1975, since 1975. Development of the area on this block and everything to the north are closely packed single-family residences. This block, again, is this property here on this block is the only one with storefronts. Typically, the corner stores are within neighborhoods and they are zoned C1. So this would fit that kind of development throughout the rest of the city. The applicant is seeking to go from C4 down to C1. So this is a down zoning, which has less intense uses. Typically, commercial uses in the C4 zoning district are on the first floor, and therefore residences are not permitted on the first floor. And this is a way to allow residences, or at least the flexibility to place residences on the first floor. It is typically in character with the neighborhood, whether it's C4, remains C4, or goes down to a C1 zoning district. The uses, the intensity of uses are all reduced in the C1 zoning district. So the impact on traffic in the neighborhood should be less intense than what it is currently. We have not received any public input, and otherwise It would be a flexible space from C4 to C1. That's all I have, unless you have questions.
Any question for Travis? All right, we'll move on to consideration by the commission. Any discussion of the item? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval to the city council to rezone as requested from C4 to C1 for the property.
I'll second.
Right, motion by Norton, second by Zaccaro.
Zucchero,
Aye.
Froistat,
Aye.
Lorman,
Aye.
Norton,
Aye.
Russell.
Aye. All right, the last public hearing is a text amendment from the city of Dubuque to allow carry-out restaurants in certain commercial districts. Who is the applicant in this case?
The city of Dubuque is the applicant in this case.
Who is speaking for them?
And I'll give the staff report. Assistant Planner Jason Duba. So the request is to amend the Unified Development Code, Section 16-2-3, to include a definition for carry-out restaurant and modify the definition of drive-in/carry-out restaurant to allow for carry-out restaurant as a principal permitted use in the C2 Neighborhood Shopping Center, C4 Downtown Commercial, and CR Commercial Recreation Zoning Districts, and as a conditional use in the C1 Neighborhood Commercial Zoning District. So this recently came to our attention as a business owner interested in operating a carry-out restaurant on the 1400 block of Central Avenue contacted us. This is in a C4 Downtown Commercial Zoning District, which allows the type of restaurant she's describing, which she said would offer grab-and-go options, including freshly prepared food, refreshing iced snowballs, and packaged snacks. So that would be allowed as a conditional use. And in this case, the applicant would need to apply for a conditional use permit from the Zoning Board of Adjustment in order to operate. In the recent past, we have received other inquiries from business owners seeking to open a carry-out restaurant in the city. And currently, the UDC combines carry-out restaurant with drive-in restaurant into one use, which is defined as any business establishment or portion thereof where food is prepared for sale or consumption off the premises and or served in disposable containers or wrappers, including all fast food restaurants equipped with a drive-through service and or having a carry-out service and not serving beer, wine, or alcoholic beverages. This has become increasingly common since COVID. Staff have discussed this possibility of separating these two uses, as these types of restaurants have significantly different characteristics and intensity. This recent business owner's request provided the impetus to follow through and create two separate uses with distinct permissions and definitions. The use carry-out restaurant, not including drive-in, is already present in our code and is a principal permitted use in the C5 Central Business Zoning District. It's not included as a separate definition, however, and is not listed under any other zoning district. So the intent of this text amendment is to treat other districts in the same manner and allow the carry-out restaurant use to be separated from the drive-in restaurant use. So some of these unique characteristics between carry-out restaurants and drive-in restaurants include carry-out restaurants typically require significantly less space, as they do not need to have room for vehicles to queue up at the delivery window. Drive-in restaurants are typically larger and physically separated from other structures, whereas a carry-out restaurant can occupy a single storefront among an entire block face of businesses. Carry-out restaurants can occupy the ground floor of mixed-use buildings with residential units above, whereas drive-in restaurants typically are the only use of that property. While many carry-out restaurant customers will drive, park near the restaurant, and walk in to pick up food, these restaurants may have few or no off-street parking spaces. Many customers will walk directly from their home, place of business, hotel, etc., to the restaurant. Drive-in restaurants typically have substantial parking lots and are located in auto-oriented areas. The operation of carryout restaurants has changed and perhaps become more efficient with online ordering in advance, rather than customers arriving to the restaurant, placing an order, and waiting there for it. This reduces the demand for parking near the restaurant. For these reasons, staff feel that the impacts of carryout restaurants are less than those of drive-in restaurants, therefore allowing a carryout restaurant as a principal permitted use in the C2, C4, and CR zoning districts, and as a conditional use in the C1 district, should not have an adverse effect. In fact, permitting carryout restaurants may have a beneficial effect by diversifying the types of businesses in a neighborhood and allowing restaurant owners to offer food options that customers desire. This change also supports a more walkable community. And so we went on to draft separate definitions for carryout restaurants and drive-in restaurants, starting from that original combined definition. That is all.
Any questions for Jason?
Yes,
From the
I'm
commission?
sorry, I've got a question. I understand the difference between the comparison between the carryout restaurant and the drive-in, drive-through. What would be the difference between a carryout restaurant and, say, a convenience store that also sells food? Is it the lack of the other retail items, or?
Yeah, a restaurant would serve almost exclusively food items, and frequently they would be prepared on site. So they wouldn't just be packaged food.
Okay, so this would be prepared on site.
Yeah.
Generally, yes, they could be. A convenience store tends to also encompass other items, perhaps like prepackaged food that is maybe bought from a vendor, right? And in this instance, it's more catered to a specific business selling that food. So as opposed to getting your bag of Doritos just at the convenience store, this would just be specifically for preparation of and then carry out of food on that site.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
And we define that in the
Correct.
definition we've created. It
Yes.
says any business establishment or portion thereof where food is prepared for sale for consumption off the premises. So it's more than just selling packaged food.
Right. Right. And I will just add too that often so this may be the first time that some of you have seen a text amendment come forward. So oftentimes when staff is starting to see that there is perhaps a need or desire, or perhaps there is a change in I don't want to say trends, but in development trends, I guess, if you will. The goal of the code is really to be able to be, serving the community, right? And to be a useful tool in which we can allow businesses, especially small businesses, but all businesses, to be able to operate in a way that is appropriate and respectful. In this instance, we felt that we're kind of not allowing a use that perhaps should be used and would be appropriate in some of these smaller neighborhoods. Again, the walkability component of it definitely being a key part, and really understanding the bigger picture that drive-in is very much a different intensity than just a carry-out or a walk-in type of establishment. And so having had some most recent requests, but then other requests in the past, we identified that there was a need to consider changing this. And so that is why we're bringing that forward.
Any other questions for staff? All right. I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to create a separate definition for carryout restaurant and allow it as a permitted use in the proposed zoning areas, the C areas and the CR zoning.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Roll call?
Norton,
Aye.
Zucchero,
Aye.
Froistat,
Aye.
Lorman,
Aye.
Russell.
Aye. All right, next on the agenda is items from the public. Is there anything the public wants to discuss that wasn't on the agenda? Seeing, go ahead.
Something?
Wasn't on the agenda?
Well, I guess maybe, I just made that up.
No, it's.
Hi, everyone.
My name is Trawana Robinson. I am the business owner on Central Avenue, which is this business that we were just discussing. So I think Jason and Sheena did a great job of explaining. I have been in communication with the health department on a definition between convenience store and concession stand and food establishment, retail food establishment. So you guys did a great job, and I just wanted to just say that I was present, and that's exactly what the goal was, to try to get that conditional permit elaborated on, as it was already approved for a food restaurant location.
Right. Thank you.
That was my only comment. Thank you.
I did want to point out that the item will be before the city council on June 16th.
Yes, indeed.
You're welcome to attend that meeting.
Yes,
as
I know
well.
where you are now. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Any items from the commission? Any items from staff?
Just a note that the goal setting was a carryover from last month, so I apologize for us not admitting that. We did that last month, so I don't, I'm looking to see if there's any other updates.
I did
I
entertain a
believe that may
motion
be it. Yes, thank you.
to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.